That morning, laughter drifted through the house, Sarah's laughter. It used to be the sound I lived for, the sound that could chase away any shadow. But now, it felt like a cruel echo of something I had lost long ago. "Dad, don't leave the house today," she said, brushing past me in the hallway, her voice tight, hurried, too practiced. "I need you to stay here." I frowned. "Stay here? What?" Her smile was quick, polite, empty. It didn't reach her eyes. "You'll see," she said. And something in her tone told me I wasn't going to like it. The garage had always been my sanctuary. My hands had built more than furniture and clocks there. They'd built memories. Broken chairs, old toys, clocks that wouldn't tick. They all came alive under my touch. And Sarah had always been at my side, small hands passing screws, asking endless questions. "Will this clock work again, Grandpa?" she'd giggle. "It will, sweetheart. Some things can be fixed with care, though some things can't." By afternoon, Sarah returned with Dan, her husband, the man who never called me Dad. Just George, as if we were colleagues. "We need to talk," Dan said, taking a seat at the table. "About what?" I asked. Dan cleared his throat. "You've been living here rent-free. We need the garage. Thinking of converting it into a studio. We'll move your things out this weekend." The words hit me harder than I expected. My workshop, my home, my memories, reduced to convenience. Sarah looked down. "Dad, it's just, times are tough. You barely use it anymore." I nodded, silence my only weapon. Anger clawed at me, but I said nothing. Sometimes silence speaks louder than shouts. The next day I returned to the garage as I always did. The familiar scent of lavender soap lingered in the air, a ghost of Mary, my wife, gone 5 years now. It felt like the only place I truly belonged. Around noon, Sarah appeared. "Dad, can you help me check something? The garage light switch isn't working." I stepped inside. And then the door slammed. The lock clicked. "Sarah." I yelled, pounding on it. Her voice came muffled from outside. "Sorry, Dad. We just need the space. You'll be fine in there for a while." Betrayal burned in me hotter than anger. It's my own daughter. Locking me in. Hours dragged by. The garage had no windows, just a faint vent letting in dim light. My throat was dry, my heart heavier than it had ever been. I sank onto my stool and stared at the old family photo pinned above the workbench. Mary, Sarah, and me smiling in front of this very garage. "I thought you were better than this," I whispered to the empty room. Then a darker thought crept in. If Sarah wanted to trap me, maybe it was time I returned the lesson. When the door finally opened that evening, Sarah peeked in. "Dad, you okay?" I smiled faintly. "Never better." Relieved, she stepped in. That's when I slammed the door behind her and turned the lock. Her eyes widened in shock. "Dad, what are you doing?" "Returning the favor," I said softly. She pounded the door. "This isn't funny. Let me out." I walked to the workbench, lifted an old photo album, and began flipping through it slowly. "Do you remember this, Sarah? Your 10th birthday. You said I was your hero. And this one, you cried because I built you the prettiest dollhouse. And now, here you are treating your old father like an inconvenience." Tears streamed down her face. "It's not like that," Dan said. Dan said what? I interrupted. "Do you remember who held your hand when your mother died? Who stayed up all night so you wouldn't cry alone?" She covered her face, sobbing. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't know what else to do." I let her cry. Let her feel the weight of her actions. Then slowly I unlocked the door. She stumbled out, shaking, still weeping. The next morning, I quietly packed a bag and left the house before dawn. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't need to. A week later, she found me at the old community workshop downtown, where I once taught kids how to fix bikes and toys. "Dad, you live here now?" she asked softly, seeing the small cot in the corner. I smiled. "It's peaceful. And useful." She nodded, guilt etched across her face. "I sold the house," she whispered. "You didn't have to," I said quietly. "That house, it was meant for you." "I know," she admitted, voice breaking. "But some things can't be fixed." I looked at her, really looked at the little girl she once was, the one who handed me nails and asked if things could be repaired. "Not everything," I said gently. "But we can still try." She fell into my arms, crying. That night, we cleaned the workshop together, side by side, silently like old times. When she left, she paused at the door. "Dad, I'll come back tomorrow. Maybe we can fix some clocks like before." I nodded, turning to my workbench. An old clock sat there, stopped again. I smiled. Some things might never work perfectly. But some lessons are about love, not punishment. And sometimes, The sound of laughter is all it takes to remind you of what you're really living for.